Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're getting right into it. We've got this really focused set of sources. Think of it like a complete linguistic toolkit.
Yeah, a toolkit designed for one thing, really.
Exactly. It promises to be the fastest way for you to learn how to describe your daily routine, naturally and confidently in English.
And our goal isn't just listing words.
No, not at all. We want to analyze the structure these sources use, the architecture that makes descriptions sound, well, trustworthy, seamless.
Right. Because when we talk about daily habits, these aren't just random events. They're the things you do again and again. Waking up, brushing teeth, eating, working, the stuff that makes up your day.
Like routine?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And linguistically, that idea of something fixed, dependable, that's why the sources hammer home the simple present tense.
It's the absolute foundation.
It is. It's more than just grammar. It signals to whoever's listening, this is how things normally are for me.
That's such a key point. You're not telling a story from the past. You're stating facts about your life right now. And the sources are smart. They assume you know the tense, but focus on how you use it for routines.
Think about those basic examples they give.
Like, I wake up at 7.
Or I drink coffee every morning.
I go to work by bus. Simple.
And the simplicity itself is the message. It shouts stability.
If you look at that structure, it's almost like the power isn't just the verb, but the lack of clutter around it.
Well, yes. Keeping it clean means the focus shifts to the details, the time, the specific action, how you get somewhere.
It signals this is standard procedure.
You can rely on this description.
Okay, so let's break down this reliability. Segmenting the day seems logical. The sources talk about the sequential sprint, that morning rush.
Ah, yes, the morning routine, where vocabulary often trips people up.
Right.
And the sources give this core list of action verbs. What's interesting is the subtle differences they point out.
Like wake up versus get up.
Exactly. Wake up is just becoming conscious.
Eyes open.
Right.
Yeah.
But get up is physically getting out of bed.
That distinction is huge. If I say, I wake up at 6, but I get up at 7, you immediately know there's an hour gap.
Precisely. Maybe scrolling on the phone, maybe just lying there, it paints a picture.
So what else is on that essential morning list?
Well, you've got the obvious ones. Brush your teeth, wash your face, take a shower.
Get dressed, have breakfast.
And then the big transition. Go to work school.
And the sources emphasize stringing these together, don't they? Not just listing them.
Yes, the transition words are key. That's the difference between a list and, a narrative.
Like using then or after that.
Right. The sources provide a template for that smooth flow. Like, I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. I brush my teeth and wash my face.
Okay.
Then I make breakfast and have a cup of coffee.
See, it connects.
After breakfast, I take a shower, get dressed, and go to work. It just flows. No need for complex sentences.
Those little words then after breakfast, they're doing heavy lifting structurally.
They really are. Without them, it sounds like a series of commands, like bullet points. Using them creates these little chains, cause, effect, time. It's how we naturally process sequences.
Okay, so that's the morning sprint. What about midday and evening? The sources must shift focus a bit there.
They do. The linguistic challenge changes. Morning is often about being the clock.
Right.
Afternoon and evening,
Yeah.
you're often shifting gears. From work to home, maybe from duty to relaxation.
And the vocabulary reflects that shift.
Absolutely. Afternoon habits often involve continuing things. Go back to work, attend classes, but also maybe shorter recovery things like take a nap or read a book.
Okay.
Structurally, the sources focus on how you start talking about the afternoon. You need context.
You can't just jump in.
No, you need patterns like I usually, or that key phrase, after lunch, I. It grounds the
It
listener.
establishes the time frame.
And then the evening.
Vocabulary gets more domestic, maybe more reflective. Verbs like come home, cook dinner, watch TV.
Relax. That's a big one.
Relax, read a book, go to bed, fall asleep. You don't usually relax at 8 a.m. Not typically, no. So relax signals the day is winding down.
It's like linguistic permission to rest.
Yeah.
And again, the example structure is simple but effective.
Let me guess. Simple present.
Always.
Yeah.
I come home around 6. I cook dinner, eat with my family, and watch TV.
Okay.
After that, I take a shower and read a book before bed.
See.
The tense holds firm. It just signals repetition no matter the activity.
So simple present tells us what we do, but routines aren't always identical, are they? There's variability.
Ah, now you're getting to the next layer. The sources call them adverbs of frequency.
This is where personality comes in, right? How
Yeah.
often you do something.
Exactly. It stops being just a generic routine and starts showing priorities, habits, personality, like you said.
And the sources get really specific here. They give percentages.
They do, which is a pretty powerful teaching tool. It forces you to think quite precisely, even if real language isn't pure math.
Okay, walk us through that scale.
It starts with certainty. Always. That's 100%, no exceptions. Then you have high frequency, usually, which they peg at about 80, 90%, and often at 70%.
It's interesting they separate usually and often.
It is. Usually feels more like the default setting. Often feels like.
Yeah.
It happens a lot, but maybe it's more consciously chosen each time.
Subtle distinction. What's next?
Midpoint. Sometimes. 50-50. Truly optional.
Okay.
Then it drops off. Rarely, maybe 10, 20%. And finally, total absence. Never. 0%.
And these little words pack a punch. Placement matters too, right?
Crucial. The sources stress they typically go before the main verb.
But after the verb to be.
Exactly right. Like, I am often tired, but I often feel tired. Getting that right makes you sound much more natural.
So you don't just say, I skip breakfast.
No, you'd say, I sometimes skip breakfast. Or maybe, I never skip breakfast.
It fine-tunes that reliability signal we talked about with the simple present.
Precisely. It lets you adjust how fixed that habit really is.
Okay, so we've basically built the description of a personal routine. We have the tense, the sequence words, the frequency words. How do we use this in, like, actual conversation? Small talk.
Right. The social context. The sources show how this framework is perfect for finding common ground.
How so?
Well, the questions they suggest aren't random. They tap into that predictable structure. Things like, what time do you wake up?
Do you eat breakfast every day? How do you go to work?
What do you usually do after work? Do you exercise regularly?
They're safe questions because everyone has a routine, even if it's different.
Exactly. They're icebreakers disguised as routine checks. And notice the simple present in the question.
Ah, so it prompts a simple present answer.
Yes. It creates this easy back and forth. You share your routine, they share theirs. You're giving little clues about your life.
I always take the bus, says something different than I sometimes drive.
Right. Consistency versus flexibility.
Yeah.
Preferences, priorities. It all comes out.
Okay, but what about weekends? Does the system break down when the alarm clock is off?
You might think so. But no. The core structure that simple present tense holds firm. It's surprisingly versatile.
So, same tense, different activities.
Pretty much. The theme changes, obviously. And the frequency words probably shift too.
Yeah.
More usually, and sometimes maybe fewer, always.
Makes sense. The activities become more about pleasure, less about obligation. Sleeping late, hiking, seeing friends.
Cleaning the house, watching movies.
Right.
Yeah. Same linguistic framework, different life content.
Do the sources give a weekend example?
They do. It reflects that freedom. On weekends, I usually wake up late, have a big breakfast, and listen to music.
Sounds nice.
Sometimes I meet my friends or go shopping. In the evening, I watch a movie or read a book. See? The adverbs signal less rigidity.
The expectation of always is lowered, which is kind of the point of the weekend.
Exactly.
Wow, okay. This has been a really detailed look at something that seems simple on the surface, so let's synthesize. For someone listening right now, wanting the quick rules, the sources boil it down right.
They do. 3 key takeaways. Think of it as your checklist.
Okay, number 1.
Anchor everything in the simple present tense. That's your signal for reliability for routine.
Got it. Number 2.
Use time words to create sequence and context. In the morning, after work, on weekends, tell us when.
Right. And number 3.
Modulate with frequency words. Always, usually, sometimes, never. Show us how often.
Simple present. Time words, frequency words, that covers the what, when, and how often. But you mentioned flow earlier. That seems critical too.
Oh, absolutely crucial. We can't forget those connecting words. They might seem small.
Then after that?
Yes. They're the engine of the narrative. Without them, it's just a list.
Yeah.
Clunky.
Staccato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compare. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, it's abrupt.
Versus the source version.
I wake up at 7, then I brush my teeth. After that, I take a shower and have breakfast.
Smooth. Connected. It tells a mini story.
That really highlights the value here. It's not just correct grammar. It's about sounding natural, making it easy for someone to follow along.
So listeners, you basically have the blueprint now, the full structure for talking about your daily life confidently.
You do. And as you start using this, maybe think about this. A final thought to chew on.
Okay.
We've just analyzed this quite rigid linguistic structure, right?
Yeah.
Designed perfectly to describe fixed, repetitive habits using things like simple present, always, never.
Yeah.
So if the language itself so neatly captures and maybe even reinforces that repetitive reality, does describing our routine this way actually make it harder to change those habits when we want to?
Does the language itself kind of lock us into the routine?
Does it? Something to mull over.
That is a fascinating question. Definitely something to think about. Okay, keep those thoughts percolating, everyone, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.
Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a question I get asked all the time. How do I sound more natural when I'm just trying to make small talk in English? Well, one of the absolute best ways is to get really good at talking about your daily routine, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. You know that feeling, right? You're in a conversation, everything's going fine, and then, bam, you hit a wall. That awkward silence. Well, that's where talking about your day comes in. It's seriously the perfect universal topic to keep that conversation flowing. Okay, so let's kick things off with the absolute basics. What even are daily habits? It might sound super simple, but thinking about them as the building blocks of your day is a really helpful way to look at this. Simply put, they're the things you do every single day, pretty much without even thinking about them. And what's so great about this for anyone learning a language is that they're consistent. That makes them super easy to describe once you know a few simple rules. And here are some perfect examples, right? Waking up, brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, checking your phone. We all do it. These are those small, universal things that connect all of us, which makes them a fantastic topic for any conversation. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most important grammar rule in this whole explainer. If you remember just one thing, make it this. When you're talking about habits or routines, you always use the simple present tense. So it's not I am waking up at 7, it's I wake up at 7. Simple as that. All right, got that rule locked in? Good. Let's take a walk through a typical day, following it from the moment that alarm goes off all the way to bedtime. So let's start with a little morning story. Just listen to how it flows. It's just a sequence of simple actions, one after the other. Did you notice how the word then is used? It just links the ideas together so smoothly and helps create a natural sounding story. Now here's the cool part. We can break that story down. You can think of these verbs as your essential toolkit for describing pretty much any morning. You can just pick and choose from this list to build your own morning story. Okay, moving on to the afternoon. And guess what? The structure is exactly the same. We're just swapping out the morning activities for afternoon ones. And here, notice the phrase after lunch. It's a great little signpost to signal the next step in the routine. And here are some of those specific phrases you can just plug right into your own sentences. Something like, have lunch around, sounds so much more natural than saying, I eat lunch at exactly 1 o'clock. You know? It's these little details that'll make you sound more like a native speaker. And to finish our day, we finally land in the evening. The pattern continues, right? A sequence of simple actions describing how you wind down. Cooking, eating, relaxing. These are the final pieces of that daily puzzle that bring your story to a close. And here it is again, your vocabulary list, this time for the evening. These are the common, everyday verbs you need to describe what happens after work or school is all done. Simple, effective, and really easy to remember. Okay, so you can describe your day. That's a huge step. But how can we make it sound more detailed, more natural? I mean, let's be honest, not every single day is exactly the same. So let's add another layer to this with adverbs. You can think of this slide as your ultimate cheat sheet for what we call adverbs of frequency. It gives you a whole scale from 100% of the time with always to absolute 0 with never. Now, the crucial thing to remember is where you put it. The adverb almost always goes right before the main verb. So I usually drink coffee, or I sometimes watch TV. So far, we've pretty much just focused on talking about ourselves, but a conversation is a two-way street, right? So let's flip the script and take a look at how to ask other people about their routines. Here you go. 5 perfect, ready-to-use questions. They're simple, they're open-ended, and they invite the other person to share. Just get comfortable with a couple of these, and you'll never be stuck for something to say ever again. So let's see how this actually works in a real conversation. It all starts with a simple, direct question, just like the ones on our list. Now, this right here is a really important part of the conversation. So Sarah answers the question, but then she immediately asks, "How about you?" That simple little phrase turns the question right back to the other person, and it keeps the conversation flowing beautifully. That is a key to amazing small talk. All right, we've covered the what, the how, and the why. So now it's time to bring all these pieces together and actually put them into action. This is where you get to practice. You know, if you only take away 3 things from this whole explainer, let it be these 3 tips. 1, stick to the simple present tense. 2, add in those little time words like in the morning or after work. And 3, add frequency words like always or usually. That is your simple formula for success. Okay, this is where you come in. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I really want you to try to say your answer out loud, wherever you are. This is absolutely the best way to build up that muscle memory. Ready? First question. What time do you wake up? Go on, say it. Try to use a full sentence like, I wake up at. Great. Now for a slightly more open question. What do you usually do on weekends? Think about how your routine changes a bit and try to use a frequency word like sometimes or usually in your answer. And that brings us to our final slide. You see, the most important thing isn't just to learn this information, it's to actually use it. So my final challenge to you is this. What's one routine you'll describe in English today? Maybe it's your morning coffee ritual or what you do right after work. Pick one and tell someone. That's how you truly master it.